So this is going to be an interesting topic that I want to talk to you guys about. I made a video in the past, like a year ago, 2 years ago, talking about what has happened to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, and my question of that was finally answered with Sonic Colors Ultimate and Sonic Frontiers, which are both, I think, mediocre games at best. I mean, personally, I have Sonic Colors Ultimate. I am enjoying the game and I'm just taking my time with it, but it's all right. It's not great. I mean, it's pretty good for what it's worth, but that's a topic for another day. But I want to ask you guys a similar question to what I asked years ago. Like, what happened to the Jack and Dexter franchise? So, for those of you who don't know, I mean, I have it on my as my thumbnail, as you can tell from the thumbnail of the video, and I even showcased some gameplay while I was doing some commentary for a couple of my videos. I definitely showcased some Jack and Dexter gameplay when I was talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I personally enjoyed the Jack and Dexter franchise. This franchise was originally on the PS2 with Jack and Dexter the Precursor Legacy, then we had Jack 2, Jack 3, and then Jack 10 Combat Racing. But after Jack 10 Combat Racing or Jack X Combat Racing, this game has just not heard a peep. Like, there's been no sign of this game or mention of this game whatsoever. Like, after Jack 10 Combat Racing, Sony just kind of just stopped working on Jack and Dexter. So, my question is, what happened to the Jack and Dexter franchise? Like, what happened to this game? And surprisingly, there's actually a decent fan base around this game. They're like scattered across the internet, but there's some fans out there that enjoy Jack and Dexter. So my question is, what happened to the Jack and Dexter franchise? Did this did Sony lose the license to Jack and Dexter? Did they just completely forget about it? Just what happened to this game? Like, it's just every time someone tries to mention it, it's just everyone's looking at you with like you got two heads, and they're just like, what are you talking about? Like, these are some of the questions that I want to know. Like, what happened to this game? Like, are Sony working on this game? Are Sony developers just done with this game? Did they give up the license? Do they still have it and refuse to do anything with it? Are we going to get another game that no one knows about? Like, Sony just has remained completely silent on this thing since the PS2. And this was a few console generations ago. Like, it just baffles me because popular franchises like this, they deserve better. Games like this, they deserve another chance to shine. A good example, Metroid Prime, back on the Nintendo GameCube around 2001. Nintendo made a remaster for Metroid Prime, and Metroid Prime Remastered is one of the best Nintendo Switch games of all time right now, and it's still selling strong. And I even made a video talking about how Metroid Prime Remastered is still going out strong, especially because that game was like, what, 22 years old, 23 years old, and now they remastered the game and people are loving it. So I don't understand, like, why doesn't Sony or Microsoft do the same thing with their older franchises like Banjo Kazooie or Jack and Dexter? Like, there are a lot of people that want to play this franchise again. There are a lot of people that want to play this game again. Like, there's a lot of people that want to get nostalgia again, and it just seems like Sony doesn't care about that as much, especially with their recent failure of The Last of Us on the PC ports, which ended up as a complete disaster from what I've been hearing online. But that's a topic for another day. I digress. But anyway, the point is, I just want to know, is there going to be any hope that Jack and Dexter comes back? Are we going to get this franchise again? Or is Sony just going to sit on the license and do absolutely nothing with it? Like, I want to go back to this franchise. I want to go back and play this game again. as a remaster or something. But every time something like this pops up, the developers just go, like I said multiple times, they just go completely silent. Like they just don't care about the franchise or the fans whenever they just want to relive a classic game. And the sad part is, if I have to go back to the older titles that I still have physical copies for just to get that AAA experience or nostalgia feeling again, that's not a really good sign. And it's bad enough that the gaming industry is already in a crap spot. I mean, it's been in quite the rut for a while now, especially with the PS5 and Xbox Series next gen consoles. Like it's just not doing too hot in my opinion. And the fact that I have to go back to the older titles to enjoy and get a AAA experience that way, that's not a very good sign. And I want to play these games again. I don't want to go back to my older consoles just to get a AAA experience again. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's kind of where I'm at with these games. Like, game developers just seem to forget about them. Like, these franchises just seem to have been forgotten about. It's just baffling that developers just can easily either ditch a franchise that people love completely or just not bother with this at all. And a, a funny example of this has been with Advanced Wars. Like, there's not been a peep about it until 2021 when they announced it was getting a remake. But since its development issues, it looks like it's finally coming out. And I honestly hope that we can get something like that for Jack and Dexter 2. And I hope we can. But unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, with that being said, thank you guys all for watching and for listening. And until next time, you guys, I'm talking about what happened to the Jack and Dexter franchise. And I'll see you all later.